Hi, I'm a chair from Marathon Mates. Christmas is coming, and before you know it, it's going to be here, which means lots of new running gear as gifts from our loved ones. On this episode, we'll be talking about all things we would love to see Santa bring us this year, from running shoes, clothes, and to some quirky items out there these days. We will share with you what's on our lists. Are you ready to run? Let's go!
Welcome to the thrilling world of the Flying RuNR, brought to you by the Marathon Mates.
Hi everyone, welcome to episode 77 of the Flying RuNR. Christmas is now only a few days away, and it's time for us to share with you what our ultimate running gifts from Santa would be. On this episode, we will share with you what is on our lists, from the practical to the downright quirky, and we've got it all covered. So if you're short of an idea or two, we're going to help you with that. But before I go on, as always, I'm joined by my marathon mates, Tony, and of course Tim. Tara is taking a week off this week, so she's left me with the guys. So please be gentle.
Of course.
Yes.
Good. Otherwise, I'm telling Tara.
Oh, so she's in charge of the naughty and nice list.
Yeah,
Exactly.
something like that. And punishment is she'll talk your ear off. Yeah.
And as our listeners know, she can do that. But
Yeah,
guys,
she loves to chat.
But guys, more importantly, how's your running been over the past week, and what have you guys been up to? Tony?
Yeah, okay. I'll go first. Got out to do 15K on Saturday and made it to 10 and was feeling a bit lightheaded, I guess would be the best way to describe it. So I pulled up stumps and walked back to the car. I didn't want to push myself any further. It was really hot on Sunday morning and I was just soaked with sweat. So so that was going to be part one of the Honolulu Marathon virtual. So I've completed both the 10K and the Merry Mile. So now I've just got the marathon to do. So it's just changed from doing it in 3 runs to doing it in 4 runs. So, but still feeling really good. Outside of that, just did a couple of runs last week. I am now an 8-minute miler based on my Merry Mile run, just 2 seconds below 9-minute miling, but I'm going to take it. I'm an 8-minute miler now and I'm pretty happy with that. But it's been a lot of fun at the moment, just taking it a bit easy and just enjoying it. Didn't get to Parkrun. So
Did you just say you have just a marathon to go?
I've just got sorry.
Just a marathon.
Yeah. Well, there's 3 races, so I'm not saying it's just a marathon. It's just there's only one of the 3 left to do. So, but good pickup. I can't sit there and point the finger at others when they use the word "just" and not have it pointed back at me. So, well done, Tim. You got me. But yes, I do have the marathon to go, but I'm breaking the marathon. It was initially in 3 runs and I'll now break it into 4. So I'll do 3 10s and then New Year's Eve, I'll be running the resolution run, which is 13K. So just 43K.
It's an ultra, a virtual ultra.
Yeah.
Exactly. And Tim,
Yeah.
what did you get up to?
Yeah, we went to Parkrun, Tara and I. We just went to, which Parkrun did we go to? Redcliffe. We caught up with a number of our marathon mates at Redcliffe. So For some of our listeners, they'll remember Kay Mass, who was on the show. I can't remember which episode, a long time ago. And Terry Frew, who was episode 3, I think it was, that Terry was on. And we caught up with some other friends of ours, Monica and Brian, who are regular listeners as well. They're out there at Redcliffe Parkrun. Really nice course along the foreshore there at Redcliffe. And for the first time in I don't know how long, I was able to unleash it a little bit and go a little bit quick for a bit of fun. So yeah, I was happy. My time 24:59, so scraped in under the 25 minutes, which is the fastest time I've done for a long time. So I was happy with that. Hot, humid, sticky, into a headwind for a big chunk of the course. Very happy with that. Tara did very well as well. Came in 29:30 or thereabouts. So she was very happy with that. Really easy, really comfortable, enjoyed it, and then backed it up the next day on Sunday with a long run. We're sick and tired of lying in beds on Sunday mornings, sick and tired of sleeping in. We've had enough of getting fat, all those sorts of things. So we got out of bed and ran 15Ks, just 15Ks, just to go out and shake it out a little bit and go back to our happy place, which is running out there at Shorncliffe, which we really love doing. It was beautiful again as normal, and it was very easy to run that 15Ks because we just took our time and took it easy in the very hot, sticky weather. So yeah, enjoyed it.
Nice
And,
one.
and Lucia, what about you? What have you been up to?
I'm slowly getting the distances back up. So my long run on Sunday was a very long one. It was just over 10Ks. Because I figure with my planned run for New Year's Day, so 25Ks for 2025, I think I should start building the distance up again. But it's still hot and humid in Sydney. I won't after I went for my run, I caught up with a friend for coffee, and I had to change singlets because I was just drenched in sweat. It's not comfortable to run at the moment. Even I started running at just after 5:30. It was still very hot and humid. So with those runs, I'm just listening to the body. I'm not caring about pace or anything. It's just about getting it done.
Yeah,
Ultimately.
yeah. And I must admit, I mentioned Brian and Monica, our friends that we met up with on Saturday at Parkrun. Monica is taking a leaf out of your book, Lucia, and she mentioned that she's considering and most likely will do 25Ks on New Year's Day to kickstart the New Year's. So you've inspired one of our listeners as well, albeit she is in the middle of a training program at the moment for Tokyo Marathon, which they told me was only 10 weeks away till Tokyo Marathon. So her and Brian, that will be their second major. So we might look to see if we can get those guys on after they come home from Tokyo to give us a first-hand account of it and their experience. First time we're traveling fit as well.
First of many, I suspect, for those guys.
Yes. Yeah. They were spoiled. They were like Tony and Sharon. First marathon was New York. And they've fallen in love with marathoning and have done Gold Coast since, and now, looking to go to Tokyo next. So, yeah, good luck to you, Brian, and to Monica.
Good luck, guys. Well, thank you, guys. And now it's everyone's second favourite part of the week, the news. Over to you, Tim. What's been happening around the world of running over these past few days?
Thanks, Lucia. I've got a couple of stories here, actually. So the first one is around Kipchoge and Eliud Kipchoge giving us all a little bit of hope. So we've talked about it in the past that he came out recently and said that his next challenge was going to go and run a 10K race in Thailand. Well, last weekend he was able to do that at the Bangkok Marathon showcase event, which is their 10K race that they had there. It brought together about 33,000 people from 77 countries. And as I said, he ran the 10Ks in that event alongside Her Majesty Queen Suthida of Thailand. Now, apologies if I got Her Majesty's name wrong. Now, this race takes you past many of Bangkok's most iconic landmarks and royal buildings. He ran with Her Majesty the Queen through that whole race and embracing the spirit of the occasion. And to give us all some hope, he ran the 10Ks in 1 hour, 24 and 45 minutes, which I thought was a fantastic time for somebody who's so quick to be at not the back of the pack, but near the back of the pack, having some fun, seeing the sights, running with somebody else and having some fun. I thought that was pretty cool. I love this. I loved how he's giving back to the sport. And I just wish many more of the elites would do this, run at the back of the pack, share some of the stories. It reminds me a little bit of what Rob D. Costello is doing with the Indigenous Marathon Project. We've had Rob on in the past, episode 5, I think it was. But it's something that I'd love to see more of the elites do once they finish their career or once they get to the twilight of their career. Give something back to the sport. What do you guys think?
I think it's absolutely amazing, and this is probably, and this will be the only time that I can say this, but for a 10K race, I've done it faster than he has. So it's probably going to be the only time I'll ever be able to say that. But the fact that he does, as you say, Tim, go with the back of the pack, like people will be able to get so much information out of him, and just to feed off his energy, I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, I think it's just shows that he's human, and you get much better connection at the back of the pack than what you do when you're out in front. So I think it's awesome. Is there any word, Tim, on whether he's targeting another marathon? Or I did hear. No, I didn't hear. Sorry, I was going to tell a furphy. But yeah, is there anything around what his long-term plans are at the moment?
He's always been very cagey around what his next event is. If you remember the last couple of marathons, even the Paris Olympics was probably the only one that anyone suspected he was doing, but they all come with a formal announcement that he does, 3 months beforehand, that I'm targeting this event. He hasn't said anything about what he's doing. What I have heard, though, is that he has not retired from marathon running. So I suspect there'll be more marathons in him, but whether they'll be chasing masters records or whether they'll be, having fun at the back of the pack, who knows? Obviously, he's in this Run Fest series, whatever that is, and he'll turn up to some of those events. Whether he'll run them to publicize them, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what he does. He has the ability to go out and set a whole heap of masters world records now over the next few years. But it depends on what he wants to do. I still think he thinks that he can probably run really fast and set a world record.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting. The next bit of news I've got is one that we all enjoy for various reasons. The BAA, Boston Athletic Association Marathon Jacket, the Boston Marathon Jacket, and merchandise has been released. It's that time of year. I don't know why they release it 4 months beforehand, before the event, or 5 months before the event, but they have released it. You can purchase it online. I think if you live in the US, I'm not sure if you can do it elsewhere. But if you look at the social media pages, people are buying it. People are wearing the merchandise. People are saying they don't like the jackets because the logo's too small or the logo's too big, or there's a Bank of America logo on it that they don't like, or they don't like the color or whatever, but it's all out there. People are buying it. People are wearing it. I am traditionally one that I don't wear any of the merch until after I've completed the race. I'm firmly in that school of thought. But guys, what are your thoughts on it?
Tim, I'm with you. I must admit, for Boston this year, I did pre-order some merch and have it delivered to the hotel, but let me just put the disclaimer out there. That was because the Adidas US website had 20% off, and even with the conversion rate, it was still cheaper for me to have it sent to the hotel in the US, but I didn't wear any of it until after the race because I'm in the same mindset. Like, you don't know what's going to happen. Are you going to get injured? Like, this is the one time of year that makes me laugh. All the politics behind the color and the fact that the men's, women's jackets are different colors. But also it's scary that people wear it already. I've never been able to wear merch for a race that I haven't done. I just can't do it.
Yeah, I'm going to be subtly different. I think if I'm buying a Boston jacket now, well, for starters, I'm not. but I'm not wearing it 3 months before the race at all. However, if I'm at Boston to run the race and I go to the expo and I buy the jacket or the event shirt or, a new hat, I'm going to wear that. I'm going to wear it. I'm not going to, if it says finisher, I'm not going to wear it. But if it's just an event shirt, I am going to wear it. So if I buy the jacket 2 days before I run and wear it, well, so be it. So I don't think that's bad juju. However,
no, you're at the festival or the event, so I'm
I'm
okay
there.
with that. Yep.
I'm there with every other runner who's doing the same thing, but I'm not
Yep.
wearing it 3 months out and wearing it down to Parkrun. So you
No.
know what I mean? I don't
No.
get that. I don't know why you would do that, but anyway, each to their own.
I also don't know why you'd buy it. Having been to Boston this year, the amount of stores that are selling Boston merchandise, it's not just limited to the expo. You can go down to Marathon Sports next to the finish line and buy Boston merchandise. You can go to Dick's Sporting Stores. You can buy it there. There's another pop-up store outside of the expo where in this year it was where Town Hall was, but normally it's around Copley Square. And you can buy merchandise there. There are so many places that are selling the merchandise, and it's all official merchandise. It's not like they ever run out of it. So I don't get the whole, it's 4 months early, I'm going to buy it now, I'm going to put it on, I'm going to wear it, I'm going to post it all over social media that I'm wearing it. I don't get that. I really don't understand it.
Yeah, neither do I. So, but each to their own. And if they want to do it, so be it. I'd much rather be in the camp that you wait 6 months after the Boston Marathon and pick up all the marathon gear cheap at some of the factory outlets around the place, because you also see that a lot on social media.
Yes, you do. And I'll sell it at this price because I still got the tags on it. So yeah, but how many times have you worn it with the tags on? But anyway, all right. So that's that one. It's always a bit weird, and we always have a little bit of a chuckle over that one. The other news this week is more serious news. Ruth Cheptanegedich, who set the world record in Chicago, her world record was ratified this week by World Athletics. As you know, Tara and I were in that race, and we'd love to think that Ruth set that record because she was running so fast to try and beat us home. She didn't want us catching her on the course. So the new world record stands at 2 hours, 9 minutes and 56 seconds. And I'd have to say this is one of the highlight runs of 2024. I know there's another one in the marathon at the Paris Olympics, but I would say this is one of the highlight runs. Watching Ruth go and smash another couple of minutes off the world record. Some notes here. Her world record was ratified 6 months quickly, or more quickly than the one set by the previous world record holder, Tigist Asafa. Also, Tara and I were in the race where Tigist Asafa set that world record, as you were, Tony, in Berlin.
Starting to set a trend here, Tim.
That's it again.
These elites are going to be lining up and saying, where are Tim and Tara running next? So.
Come to Gold Coast. But there's never been really any clarity on why it took so long for Tigist's world record to become ratified. There was a lot of innuendo about drugs and performance and things like that. But there's a number of steps, and the article I read explained the steps involved in ratifying a world record. And I think, Tony, you asked me a little while ago when it came to we thought Jen Kellett was going to set a world record. What's involved with ratification of a world record? The information I got back was, firstly, there needs to be some course certification that has to be done. Secondly, they have to go and check all the timing results and make sure that there's accuracy in the timing checks. And there's a number of checks that they have to do post-event to make sure that the clocks were certified and calibrated properly, and that they actually did work and were running 1 second equals 1 second, 1 minute equals 1 minute. Obviously, then there's the anti-doping tests, and they are the longest part of the testing process and the verification process. They can take up to 6 months for the anti-doping test to come through and do it. There's also an independent panel that then looks at all these results and then verifies it based on all the results from the course check, the timing accuracy, and the anti-doping tests. And the interesting thing that I read there is, whilst we all know that these courses are certified, the Abbott's World Major courses are certified well in advance because of the elites, because of the amount of prize money and everything else. Even though they're certified pre-race, there is a requirement to go back and do a post-race certification quite often to make sure that the course does measure 42.195 kilometers or 26.2 miles. So they have to go back and do that. And it's not always easy to close down roads to do those recertification checks, and that does take time as well. So there's a bit of work involved in the ratification of these world records, hence why they take so long. In this case, it's been 2 months, 3 months, but sometimes it can take longer as well. So it was quite interesting reading that one. And the final bit of news, and I've got this one here just for you, Tony, because I know how much you love Safan Hassan. World Athletics Runner of the Year. Again, gave us a memorable moment at the Paris Olympics when she won the gold medal in the marathon and 2 bronze medals in the 5K and the 10K at the Paris Olympics. Well, she's come out this week, Tony, and she is saying that she's contemplating doing one unique thing in 2025 that no one else has really done before. She is contemplating running 4 marathons at an elite level next year.
Wow.
Which is crazy. To maintain longevity, most elite runners use the current thinking that you need to run a marathon. You need to have 3 to 6 months off to allow your body to recover, and then you run again and build up the training program. So for most elites, they get 2 marathons, major marathons a year out of their bodies. To push it to double that, to do 4, is going to be quite extreme, especially at the pace that she runs. But as you know, Tony, if there's anyone on the planet who can do it, it's probably Safan who can do it. It's pretty crazy. And I'd love to see what her training program is going to look like in order to do 4 marathons and back it up. What are your thoughts?
It'd be interesting to see the ones she chooses. So, and just reading between the lines, potentially 3 majors and another one. I don't know, because in all likelihood we'd go Tokyo, Boston, and
Chicago.
then Chicago might be. But to me, a major at the front, a major at the back, and then maybe because of the way they've picked August 31 for Sydney, Sydney could be a dark horse there. But then that still leaves one. So if she chose to do New York, for example, that's early November. She could do Sydney in August 31. She'd do, Tokyo or Boston or London first up in the first half. It's very interesting, Tim. It's going to be, I'm intrigued, to be honest. And I agree, she'll do it, but I'm intrigued as to which one she chooses.
She could even do similar to what we've done in the past, right? Where you do a marathon, give yourself a short recovery, and then do another marathon a couple of weeks later and use the same training block to do it. So you're doing the same amount of work as what you would do for 2 marathons, but you're doing 2 in one training block essentially. I think I read she's 31 years of an age, so she's not got that much longer really, and 6-7 years left in the sport before her body starts to fade away on her, but at that elite level. But does she do that? Does she bring in Valencia? Is she chasing a world record in one of these events? Obviously there's more prize money if she gets a world record, so does she choose flatter courses? Does Valencia come into it in December and that spreads it out a bit more through the year?
So you could see her doing Berlin, Chicago, Valencia, all in the one block. So, wow.
Possibly,
wow.
Yeah. Who knows? But it's going to be interesting. So we'll keep an eye on that, on what she does and where she goes. But again, they do play a lot of cat and mouse, these elites. So it might be that she's saying that and then she does something else. Typically, she doesn't. She typically does what she says. But she won't tell us what the 4 events are, I don't think, until a short time before each one of them comes up. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Excellent.
But anyway, that's the news this week.
And I just want to add one piece about
Yep.
the Sydney Marathon ballot. So there was the
Oh,
final.
yeah.
There was the final Sydney Marathon Run Club for the year on Saturday. Unfortunately, I couldn't go. But one thing that was said that so far, in the first day that the ballot was open, they had about 25,000 people apply. As of Saturday, they had 100,000 people apply. And so just a reminder to any of our listeners thinking of entering the ballot, that the ballot closes on the 30th of December. So it's not a first come, first served basis. It's just like ballots with the other majors, pure random. So don't delay and get your ballot entry in.
Yep.
Lucia, just on that, but there have been posts from, not from Sydney, but a correction from the person that put a post out in the World Majors group that information is actually false.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so of the 100, but he didn't confirm whether it was more or less. So, and he was sharing a screenshot of a message received from Sydney Marathon. So the people that ran the run club actually got the figure wrong from what I can understand. But 100,000 would be.
It'd be about right. I think it'd be about right. I know Tara was trying to log in because we have to go in via the ballot. And she was trying to log in, and she said the queue was over 25 minutes wait time or something at that point in time. I logged in on Saturday and was able to get us into the ballot, but again, it was a 2-minute wait, 3-minute wait. So whether the queue time's an indication of lots of people being in there at that time or not, I don't know. But it wouldn't surprise me that they've got more than 100,000. There's a lot of people that will throw their hat in the ring and then make a decision after they've got it. But $250, you put it on your credit card at Pens. You don't actually have to. It's not coming out of your credit card until the day they, send out the notices to say you're in, and then out it comes at that point. So it'll be interesting how many people have put their hat in the ring. Anyway, there'll be people all around the world who are throwing their hat in the ring to come down. But when it comes to it, you've got your lottery entry. Will they actually then do it? I don't know.
Yeah, it'd be very interesting. And that's the one big difference that you see with the London Marathon. You don't put your credit card in when you enter the London Marathon ballot.
Yeah.
And they get 800,000. So having that credit card detail within the ballot process, I would believe that the people putting it in are a little bit more serious than potentially the blokes down at the pub putting in a London ballot entry because it's a good laugh. Yeah.
I did find the process very easy. I found out of all the marathon entries and things I've done in the past, it was probably the simplest one out of all of them. You literally, they're taking your name, your address, your phone number, your next of kin details. They ask you for your predicted time, and that was about it. There wasn't a lot of questions in there. It then asked you if you wanted to support a charity. Which charity did you want to support? It had probably 25 different charities in there that you could choose. That was it. Very simple, very easy. And then, do you have a code, discount code, which no one has? Put your money, put your credit card details in, and off you go. So, out of all the marathon entries I've entered over the years, it's probably the simplest one. But I would imagine once you're then locked in, they will then ask you to update your profile and all sorts of things after that. But very, very easy, very efficient. Well done, Sydney.
And I think gone are the days of them doing specials anymore, because when I got my entry for this year's race, they had a special for $42 for 42 Ks.
Yeah, that's not going to happen anymore. And the other thing to note is 250 Australian dollars, when you convert it to euros and US dollars, is a lot cheaper. So some of these internationals would be looking at it going, oh, is that all it costs to do a major over in Australia? That's pretty cheap when you convert it down as opposed to up.
But it's amazing how many people are still complaining about the cost of it. And then when you say, well, you need to take into account everything that goes into putting a race on and the fact that it's now a major and everything else that they need to do, people are like, oh, okay. I'm like, it's actually probably one of the cheapest majors there is if you just look at just the race entry.
Yeah, and
Yep.
it's interesting. I just did this calc. $250, and they say they're going to have 37,000 entries. It's only 9.25 million Australian dollars. It would cost them more than that to shut down traffic and the bridge and everything else for the day, plus put on the event. I would imagine pay all their staff over the course of the year, pay the police and everyone else to shut down roads. So it's still pretty cheap when you look at it compared to what the true cost of that event would be to put on.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Thank God for sponsors.
Exactly.
Go
Hello,
Bank
Bank
of
of America.
Oh, too funny. Well, guys, thank you very much. And that's the news for the week. But now let's get on to what we're here to talk about and the fun time of the show. So this is the part in which we're going to talk about what we'd love to see from Santa in our Christmas stockings this year. And there's no formality, guys. So I'm not going to, like, you know me, I just go with the flow. So let's get cracking. But one thing I'm curious, what does Christmas Day look like for both of you guys and your families? Like, what's the normal Christmas Day routine?
Well, for the first time ever, I'm going to run down to one of my local park runs, whether it's Capalaba or Cleveland, and do park run on Christmas Day. We normally don't do that. I've got 2 adult children, so they will both be here, and they're normally here on Christmas Day. But yeah, I've said I'm going to go run a 5K, so that'll be nice because they like to sleep in anyway. So normally Sharon and I are up at some ungodly hour in the morning, and we're waiting for everyone so we can start doing the breakfast thing and the prezi things. I said, bugger it, I'm not going to sit and wait this time. I'm just going to go down to Parkrun. So yeah, and then I guess for me it's just about eating and drinking all day, and then stumbling home at about 8 o'clock from a mate's place who lives down the road. Our families have always been really close, so we pop over after Christmas lunch here, have Christmas dinner with them, and that sense of feeling that we all get where we've just overindulged, and the body's saying, "Do you even know me?" That's what I'll ultimately be at around 8 o'clock, and I reckon if I'm not in bed by snoozing by 10:30, it's been far too late. So that's my Christmas. So yours, Tim?
Yeah, fairly similar. So Tara and I have been doing the Christmas Day park run, I think, for the last 5-6 years, since the kids have sort of been big enough to look after themselves. So it'd be 5 or 6 years we've been doing it. We have a lot of fun. So my tip for Parkrun Day, Tony, is dress up, put a Santa hat on, enjoy it, and go and just have some fun out there, because it is a lot of fun. They get big numbers at Christmas Day parkruns. So arrive early as well to get your park and all the rest of it. But yeah, we go out to Sandgate Parkrun generally and do Christmas Day parkrun out there. That's finished by about 8. We're home by about 8:30. Kids are now just waking up at about that time. We'll have a little bit of a very light breakfast. Then we'll do the presents under the Christmas tree. And then usually we have family come over, do a barbecue, sit outside with, cold meats, hot meats and salads. Big lunch that goes into about 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon. Then we sort of roll over into the swimming pool and act like seals in the swimming pool, just too big and fat, and have a few drinks by the pool, and then sort of have some more light food around 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening, and a few more drinks, and pass out somewhere around about 8 or 9 o'clock that night, and wake up the next day in time for the cricket to start on Boxing Day. That's our Christmas Day. So very similar. What about you, Lucia? Do you have anything different with your Italian heritage, or is it much the same?
Pretty much the same. So we do seafood on Christmas Eve, and then we go to midnight mass, which is always a struggle to try and stay awake during midnight mass. Get back, go to bed. Then I tend to wake up at about 5-ish because I do the Christmas ham. So I'm up at 5 o'clock, score it, put my glaze on, whack it in the oven, and then I go out and do my run. And so then by the time I get back, no one is still up. So that's when I crack open the first beer, because we're doing Christmas lunch at our place, so which means I can have a few drinks and not worry. And then my brother and his family, they'll come over. My nephews will open their presents, and then we just start the feast. Seems like we eat all day, and then we may take a break, and then we just keep eating till night until they go, and then we start getting the phone calls from Italy, wishing everyone a Merry Christmas. And then Tim, I'm very similar to you. Then Boxing Day, my Boxing Day thing is everyone at home knows the TV's mine because I watch the Boxing Day test.
Yep.
I may not watch it all day, but at least till lunchtime, a bit after that, I always have to watch it. It's been my thing. But this year, I'm actually also working at the Big Bash on Boxing Day down at the SCG as well. So
Oh, wow.
it's going to be a double cricket day, which for me is heaven.
Perfect. Yeah, there is that one moment in the middle of the Boxing Day test where you flick over to watch the start of the Sydney to Hobart, and
yes,
for some reason, everyone's a sailing expert, even though nobody knows anything about sailing. They're going to go out this way through the heads. Really? Who knows?
And
Oh, they're tacking now because the breeze is blowing the opposite way.
Follow the blue line. Follow the blue line.
Exactly. Now, gentlemen, interesting question. So, Tony, I'm going to start off with you first.
Okay.
What's your number one wish list?
Well, I've sort of created a list, right? So, and we're having a bit of fun with this one, right? So I do have some serious stuff that I would really love to get. One is I wear calf sleeves. I wear compression sleeves on my calves, and I have done ever since I started running in 2018, and I had that wretched run of torn calves. So whether it's now more psychological than anything else, I still wear them. But it's a brand called Mojo, and they just don't seem to make them anymore. So it's always cost me a pretty penny to get them from the US, and I was very, very fortunate just to stumble across these particular calf sleeves. So I would really love to get a pair of Mojo calf sleeves for Christmas, but I know very firmly that I'm not going to get them. So the other one that I would really, really love, but I also know I'm not going to get, is I would love to update my Garmin, and I would love to go from the Garmin that I have, which is a Venue 2, which is it's not necessarily geared towards runners, and I would love to get a 965 Forerunner. But once again, I just look at that and think, yeah, there's probably better things I can do with my money, right? So, or our money in the case of Sharon and I. But we said to have some fun. So I want for Christmas.
Here we go. You ready, Tim?
Shoes, a pair of shoes, a pair of running shoes that will, you know how back in the Back in the Future franchise, right? When they went to the future and they had a pair of Jordans that just sealed up around the foot like they were just meant to be. It was just
He just shook his foot and they just closed up around it. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I want is a pair of running shoes, and you know, whatever model it might be, the Saucony Triumph 21s, right? And then when they update to the 22s, I would love to be able to put that pair of shoes back in the box, go on my smartphone and do the app, and they automatically update in the Saucony box, right? So that when I open them up the next day, they are now Saucony 22s, right? Now, the other feature that I would like, just in case I didn't like the 22s, I could then reverse the process and go back to 21s, right? So
I like it.
like software, right? If I don't like it, no, they don't suit me, I'm going to go back to the 21s. And one of the reasons why I think that's important, Sharon went shopping at DFO here in Brisbane a couple of weeks back, and we go to the Brooks shop all the time because Sharon runs in Brooks, and they've often got samples. And anyway, she picked up a pair of Ghost 13s, right? Ghost 13s.
They're 3 years old now.
And she is so happy running in the Ghost 13s. She has got her mojo back. And I just thought, why don't they make Ghost 13. So instead, what I want is to be able to update whenever, so that you're not in this constant grind of having to update, right? That's number one. Number two, I want shoe companies to get a bit more logical in the way that they name their shoes. And I'm going to give you two examples, right? The Brooks Ghost is the number one selling shoe every year, right? So many people run, I won't say everyone, so many people run in Brooks Ghosts. So what did Brooks do? They bring out a shoe called the Ghost Max. Now, for any person who's got some common sense and logic behind them would say, oh, good, they've made a pair of Brooks Ghost that have a slightly higher stack, so they've got more padding. Oh, no, it's a completely different shoe. So the Ghost Max has a drop of 4 mil, which is the drop is the difference between your heel and the 4-foot stack. It's 4 mil. A traditional Ghost is 12 mil. So could you imagine that some runners would pick up a pair of Brooks Ghost Max thinking potentially that they're just going to be like their Brooks Ghosts, and they're not, right? And, going from an 8 mil drop difference would actually potentially be dangerous for some people. So the other one that I think of is the Kinvara Pro from Saucony. I've got 2 pairs of Kinvara Pros. I like the shoe, but it's got nothing to do with the Saucony Kinvara line, which is more of a lightweight, low stack shoe, whereas the Kinvara Pro is a max stack 3/4 plate, and a lot of people don't actually like the shoe. So whereas the Kinvara has got a real production line. So I would really like companies to say, yeah, we're going to make this shoe, but let's not call it something that's going to confuse people, like in this case, the Ghost Max, because it is a completely different shoe to the Ghost, and you're just going to be tricking people, in my mind, to buy the shoe. Now, the 2 other things, just bear with me. I want more leg room in economy. Is that a Christmas wish? Please, more leg room.
I would support that. Being 6'4", I fully support that one.
And the last thing that I want, and I know I'm not asking for much here, I would really like a lifetime pass to the Boston Marathon, right? So not that I want to run it every year, but I'd like the option to be able to run it. It's like those season passes you get for Dream World and Movie World. No, just give me a Boston Marathon pass. And when I choose, I can go back and run it, because I don't think I'm ever going to get the chance to run it again. And so that's my wishes for Christmas. So how's that?
So is that so that you can have an embroidered jacket with all the years on the back of it?
Well, maybe if you bought the jacket, put them up in the closet, and every year it just automatically updates, so you've got the most up-to-date embroidery.
That could be it. It could be, and you could wear it in December, and have it embroidered for the following 10 years, because you got a lifetime entry for them, so you can put it on there and just keep wearing it.
Yeah, and the sponsor automatically changes. So.
All
right.
Tim, yourself?
Well, Tony's more switched on with it than I was just going to go for all my race entries to be paid for the year ahead. Was the big thing that I really was looking for, and maybe a sneaky marathon overseas would have been a nice one, maybe to Valencia at the end of the year or something like that. The other one I was sort of looking at is ice baths, and there's some pretty cool ice baths out there that you could use. So, I guess some mates of ours we're talking to on the weekend were saying, the traditional, you get a wheelie bin or you get a big tub and fill it with ice. Sounds really good, looks really good, but the amount of ice you actually need to fill it up, you need bags and bags and bags of ice. It's 4 or 5 bags of ice to fill up a wheelie bin to make it cold enough for you to be able to jump in. But there are actual ice baths out there that you can plug into the wall that set it at a certain temperature, and if you have it at a minus out at a 2 degrees or 3 degrees, it's doing the same thing as being ice, but not quite ice. But one of those things would be handy, I think, to have as a runner, to be able to jump into an ice bath every once in a while and do some ice recovery. The other one, which would be cool, would be some form of you can get those little balls that are massage balls that you can put underneath you a little bit more. I don't have one of those, and that would be nice as well. But running shoes, a year's supply or a lifetime supply of running shoes from Brooks would be handy. I do run in Brooks Ghost, amazingly. And yes, I get it, Tony, very much so. My favorite pair of Ghosts ever is the Ghost 8. I wish they could replace the Ghost 8. That was 8 years ago. They just felt like a glove on my foot. They were really good. I run in the 14s at the moment, even though they're up to Ghost 16. And they're 16 and a half at the moment, because they'll be putting a 17 out by about May next year. So I've got 10 pairs that I've gone through already, or I've got lined up ready. So there's 10 14s that I've got at home, and I'd love probably another 5 or 6 pairs of the 14s before we go to the 17s, and then I can try the 17s. But
the 17s, Tim, just a little bit of insider. They're going from a 12 mil drop to a 10 mil drop for the Ghost Max, and then
is that the Max or the 17?
No, that's the Ghost itself. So they're dropping they're dropping their drop by 2 mil. So once again, are they going to ruin the best-selling shoe? Who knows?
They will. A lot of runners will leave them. I for one probably won't be able to run in them. I have pretty sensitive feet out there, and I notice little differences. I have to wear orthotics in my shoes. That's why I run in the Ghost, because it's a neutral shoe. It's got the right amount of drop and everything with the orthotics. But even my podiatrist is really surprised, because I can notice 1 to 2 millimeters difference in my orthotics when one wears out quicker than the other one. And so 2 mils would be a huge change to me, and could potentially lead to injuries. So it would be something that I'd need to be very careful of. And if they do that and do change the drop, they'll probably lose me as a customer. And as I said, I've bought 10 pairs of the 14s. I've missed the 15s, and I'm missing the 16s at the moment. So I should probably go to the factory and buy as many 14s as I can at the moment while I can.
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah, but just the usual things for me. A bit more massage stuff, ice bath, some more shoes, and some race entries. I'd love to do Valencia in December next year, just to go and give it a crack and see how we go. But that's not going to come via me trying to do it. I'd really need some Christmas magic, I think, for something like that. An all expenses paid trip via Santa to Valencia. Yeah. What about you, Luciat? What do you got?
I'm going to break mine down into 2, very similar as to how Tony did. So realistically, what I'd like, now don't laugh at the first one, an insulated water flask, because the amount of times that I've got water in my flasks and you're out and the water doesn't stay cold and you're drinking warm water. Yes, it's still water, but just being able to have cold water, like when you're running in the heat and the humidity, just makes such a big difference. But can I justify paying $60 for one when I would want at least 2? So I would love insulated water flasks just to keep the water cold during those hot summer months.
Are they? Sorry, I don't know those ones. Are they flexible ones, or are they more solid?
Yeah, I've seen one company do it, but it was like $60, and I'm like, I can't justify paying $60 for ones. So that's what I would love. And then what I also need is a new running vest, hydration one, because the one I've got, the main zipper doesn't open properly. It's a bit of a struggle. I broke one zipper because I don't think, when I was wearing it and it was all sweaty, I don't think I don't think it's ever been washed. So the zippers are not in the best state. So I'd love another one of those. And I would ideally also love either a pair of Asics Nova Blast 5 or Asics Super Blast 2, because I've got the Nova Blast 2, great everyday trainer. And a lot of people I know have got the 5 that just recently came out, and they love the 5. So
Yeah, so I got funny you mentioned the Nova Blast because they got the Sonic Blast coming out next year. So there's another blast on the
Another
franchise.
change.
But Nova Blast 3 is a good shoe too because I grabbed me and Tim a pair cheap from the ASIC store at DFO, and going back a bit, and they look so awesome and so futuristic, but they're actually quite pretty. He loves running in them. I don't run in them as much because my feet are used to the Saucony Tempest. So, but they're a great little shoe. They're lightweight. So yeah, a lot of rave reviews around the Nova Blast 5.
yeah, so looking forward to hopefully getting a pair of those, but I'm yet. Yeah, we'll see. But then what my wish list, and the first, no, I'll save the funny one for but so I run in Lululemon tights because for me they're comfortable. The amount of crap I can fit into the side pockets is amazing. But Lululemon, can you please expand on the color range of the tights? I'm either wearing my black ones. I will not wear light colored ones because I sweat a lot. And in certain places, you don't want to see sweat when you're running. So a bit more pattern, dark pattern. So please, Lulu, expand the color range on the fast and free tights because it's a great, great tight. Love it. I've done all my marathons in them. But please expand on the color range. That would be great. Then the second one, I don't know if this will ever happen, but if anyone's listening, if you can make it happen, please send us an email. I would love a credit card. So when I go to the next expo, it's unlimited in the merchandise I can buy. I don't have to worry about conversion rates. I don't have to worry about having got enough money to eat for the next week that I'm in a destination. So a credit card that's unlimited for me to go crazy at expos because, as we know, I do love a good expo, which would come in handy for when I do potentially either New York in 2026 or Doping maybe again in 27. So that's kind of my wish list. Whether or not any of that happens is yet to be seen.
Wow.
Yes.
An
Yeah, I think we
unlimited
could all
credit
do with one of
card.
those.
that solves Tim's problem of the international travel. So he'll pick up on that.
Yep.
And then I wouldn't need a magical pair of shoes. I'd just update all the time. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep. And the other thing you need to go with the unlimited credit card is unlimited leave balance at work.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That is a good one.
Because we're fortunate in Australia, we get 4 weeks annual leave. But 4
And we
weeks
can carry it over.
goes pretty quickly when you're doing all these races. Yeah, it can carry over, but unfortunately, I'm down to 0 leave at the moment. Hence why I'm not able to do any traveling next year because I've got to build my leave back up for the following year. So yeah, unlimited leave would be handy. And I must admit, I've got a fantastic employer who has supported me in my journey. But even if I went to them and said I wanted unlimited leave, I would be in big trouble, I think.
And I'm just going to add one more thing in there. So I don't know if this will get to the organisers of the Gold Coast Marathon, but I'm gonna try. I know you guys have set the times out for the races for next year, but can the 10K start even just 10 minutes later? Because that's my only concern with the quaddie is the time between the half and the 10. So just either start the half even 5-10 minutes earlier, or start the 10K even 5-10 minutes from the original. I know it won't happen, but I'm just going to pop it out there.
It would be interesting to know how many people are doing the 10 and how long it would take to get them through the start line. Luciat.
I'm not worried about that. It's the half I'm worried about.
Oh yeah, I know, but as you like, if the the 10K starts at say 1:30 and it takes 10-15 minutes to get everyone through, realistically, starting at 1:45 for you might give you that time you need in the half. So
I might have to look at the results and see.
So I'm looking at the schedule now. So the half marathon kicks off at 6:15 a.m. and has a cutoff time, gun time, of 3 hours and 20 minutes. then the 10K kicks off at 9:25. So it's 3 hours and 10 minutes after the half marathon starts. So you lose 7 or 8 minutes crossing the start line. So you really got 3 hours to complete the half marathon and get to the start line.
So get up the front of the half as politely as you can. Stay on the left so the speedy guys don't get annoyed by you.
Yep.
And then come. What's the best ever time you've done for a half?
2:37.
Yeah, so you'll go 2:25 at Gold Coast next year. So that's reasonable. So 2:25.
It's a flat course. Yeah.
Flat course. Set your goals big, young lady.
Oh, I know. So unless Tara runs with me again, because I'll probably get sick of her yapping to me like I did the last time she ran Goldie Half, and I'll be like, I should need to get away from her. Love you, Tara. Really do.
So you got 3 hours and 10 minutes from the gun of the half marathon till the start of the 10K. The 10K has a 1 hour 40 cut off. And then the 5K starts at 11:45, so 2 hours and 20 minutes after the 10K. So that's not an issue.
Yeah,
it's just the first one.
Yeah. So that's my wish
You'll
list.
do that easy. Easy. Yeah.
Now, guys.
You'll be right.
Yeah. Now, just before we finish up, this is the bit that I'm looking forward to, and I know many of our listeners do, and they can't wait. Tim, what's your tip for the week?
Yeah, I'm just bringing up the run sheet again because I forgot it. I've been playing around on my iPad, so just bear with me. But while we're doing that, I didn't hear any of you say you're going to get those carbon rocks that you put on your forehead to cool you down.
Even I have limits.
Yeah. They were the ugliest things I've ever seen smart runners wear. So and as you kindly shared the research about it, it really doesn't do a great deal of good.
No,
and
it's a scam.
And ultimately it's just they were ugly.
Yeah. Sorry, I won't say it was a scam. It was scientific research has showed that there is not actually much of improvement in it based on the study we've seen. There you go. All right, so you want my tip this week, Lucia. So my tip is, despite what we've all said tonight, you don't really need anything fancy or wonderful to do this wonderful sport we call running, right? We love it. You just need the basics. You really need a good pair of shoes that suit your feet. And my recommendation is to get some good advice when you are getting your shoes. Don't just buy them from a pimply teenage kid in the running store, or from somebody who's getting a kickback or a commission based on what they sell. Go to somebody who's a bit grey-haired, a bit wise, who actually understands runners and runners' feet. And there are a number of running stores out there that have people in there that know what they're talking about. You need a good pair of shoes, and you need comfortable clothing and underwear to go with it. Stuff that wicks away your moisture, is lightweight and does the job for running. On top of that, you need some good socks. So despite all these little things we've talked about, we'd love to have, that's all you're right. All you need. Don't buy into all the marketing. Don't go and buy shoes based on, the advertising of somebody or an influencer telling you something. Certain shoes might be good for the elites, but they're not good for the average runner. Same with clothing as well. So make sure you get good advice from the people who know what they're talking about, and somebody who is actually a passionate runner, or somebody who is part of the industry and part of the sport all in one. Don't just take the word of somebody else and buy all this wonderful gear. So that's my tip this week.
Excellent. Thank you, Tim. So this episode, unfortunately, it's about to end, but just before we do, Tony, what's on for next week?
Thanks, Lucia. Can you believe it? We're almost at the end of the year. I know I keep pinching myself that we are not just in December, but halfway through, more than halfway through. Yeah. It doesn't seem that long ago that Sharon and I were sitting down at the end of 2023 and all excited about what we were going to do in 2024. So I believe next week's episode, we're doing a recap of the year that was for each of us. We're going to recap the adventures we had, talk about the highs, the lows, and in addition, we'll probably do some reminiscing around some of the guests that we had, some of the great guests that we had. And we might even have a bit of an argument about what is going to be that 7th question we ask now in the Fast 7 in 2025. And all of that to look forward to. And as usual, we can't wait to bring that episode to you.
Thank you, Tony. As always, it sounds like it's going to be another cracker of an episode and cracker Christmas. Tim, sometimes I really have to read the run sheet properly before I say this stuff. But unfortunately, this ends what has been another amazing episode. But just before we do finish up, we would love to wish you, our wonderful listeners, a very merry and safe Christmas. Hopefully, Santa brings you love, joy, and happiness. I'd also like to wish my amazing marathon mates a very merry Christmas. A big thank you for joining me tonight. I have had a lot of fun. Have missed Tara, but hopefully I've done her proud. And it's always a good laugh. It's always a good laugh. It's always a good laugh talking with you guys about cool running gear and stuff like that. And can't wait to do it again next week. As always, we love recording these podcasts for you, our wonderful listeners. We love hearing your feedback. So please like the episode wherever you are listening to it, and leave some comments, or even send us a message via our social media pages on Instagram, Facebook, and via our email address at happyrunning@flyingrunner.com. As usual, a video of this episode will be available at Spotify and YouTube, and audio will be on Apple and Amazon and most other popular podcast platforms. Lastly, and remember, every step forward is a victory. Lace up, hit the road, and we'll catch you on the next episode of the Flying RuNR. Until then, happy running.
Happy running.
Happy running.